As you can see, I've already opened up Stata, and I'm using Stata version 15.0. And what I'd like to do here is to first of all just introduce you to the Stata layout that we have before us. First of all, what you'll notice in the very center of the screen here is going to be the output window. This is whenever we execute a Stata command, the output will be displayed as well as the commands that we executed in this window here in the middle. And below that, you see labeled the command window. We can, as we'll talk about later on, we can type in the specific commands that execute various statistical routines in Stata from the command window. And that's what I find the easiest to use. You also see then off to the left here is a history of commands that are executed will be displayed. And one of the things that we see about Stata that makes it so easy to work with is we can execute a command over and over again just by clicking then on the recorded commands in this window off to the left. If we look to the right of the screen, what you'll see then are two windows. The top of these windows is where information about the data set will be reported. So you will see the variable names for all the variables that are listed here. And if there are too many to display in this window as it is right now, you'll see that a bar will appear on the right hand side of this window that will allow you to scroll down through to see all the variable names. And also we can scroll across, as we'll see later on, to get information about the variable, not just its name, but also the label, as well as the type of the variable can be displayed. And below that, in the bottom portion of the right hand part of this screen, was information where once we click on or select a particular variable that we can highlight in the screen towards the top on the right hand side from the data set that we have open, it will then display information about that variable in that bottom half of the right hand side. So there really then are 5 basic windows that we see here in Stata. Now in terms of executing commands, as I mentioned, you can execute them directly from the command window, which is what I find the easiest to do. And once you get used to working with Stata and you're comfortable with what the commands are, I think you'll find then that it also is easiest to just type in the command names and the various options that you're using from the command window. But we do see towards the top then of the Stata window is the ribbon where there are various menus that we can identify, and we can execute any command in Stata from the drop-down windows. So first of all, the two that I find most useful will be the File window, and here is where you can open up, and I think that opening up then the data set is easiest from this particular window. And scrolling across, the other window you might find useful, or menu rather, that you'll find useful is the Statistics menu. And this is where all of the various statistical commands are stored. Below then, what we'll see are a couple of buttons that I find really useful. The Save button is so easy to use here, as well as then the Data Editor button. And if we ever want to enter data into Stata, we can click on this button here and it will then open up, in essence, a spreadsheet window, if you will, that we can enter a data set into. And next to that, the Data Editor Browse button. And once we have data that is already entered or brought into Stata, we can click on the Browse button to see physically what the values actually look like for the cases and the variables in the data set. But we aren't able to change those values from that particular Browse data editor. So here, this is the common Stata window. Now from one version to the next, this is version 15, you'll see that previous versions or versions that may follow may have a slightly different arrangement in terms of the windows and the kind of drop-down menus that they use. But for the most part, you'll see that it really has not changed much in terms of the general architecture.